Welcome to Davis Does Stuff. Today we're going to be talking about enclosures for baby tortoises. Baby tortoises. So, you have decided you want to get a baby tortoises. You're interested in them as an animal, as a pet, and you're doing the research now. Good for you. Now this little guy is a couple months old. He's got a little bit of growth on him. This is a baby leopard tortoise, and you can see like the new growth is coming in between the original scutes and starting to fill in and getting some of that leopard pattern to them. Now, these guys can be kept in a variety of enclosures, and we're going to cover some of the basics of that. There are a variety of companies that make some really nice, gorgeous enclosures for keeping these guys inside, and it depends upon how you're going to keep them. This animal, growing up to be about the size of a grapefruit, like that, will take about 5 or 6 years. So there is no hurry about getting into a gigantic outside situation. But if you want to get into a gigantic outside situation, you can do that as well. Now, first of all, let me show you the inside enclosure where I keep them inside. Okay, baby tortoise setups. This is an inside setup. Now, there are much more elaborate setups, but this is the basic that is required to keep them healthy and growing. Now, it's a plastic tub. You'll notice the sides are high enough so they can't climb out. They're actually going to town right now on their breakfast. I've got mulch underneath them. This is just standard cypress mulch. Please don't use sand. Sand is a definite no-no. It gets into their guts and impacts them, and it has caused a lot of tortoise deaths. So no sand. Dirt is okay. Grass is good. Newspaper is okay, but tends to get dirty very fast. Now, I've got a shallow water bowl. Some people actually do not keep water in there and take the tortoises out periodically to give them a bath. I prefer to keep a shallow water bowl in there at all times so that they can get a drink and take a bath and take a poop in the water whenever they want to, and it's easy to just, wash out real fast. I have a bowl here that I got from Goodwill that's got a little bit of a tooth to it, a little bit of a surface to it, so it's not smooth and slippery like glass. If they flip over, they need to be able to have their claws and things catch on to something so they can flip themselves back. It's also very shallow, so there's really no way they can get over it and drown in it. Now on the side over here, I've got this nice little box for them. Now, this is just a plastic food container that I cut a few sides out of, so they have their own personal little cave. I like the idea of plastic food containers because then when they get a little gross, I can always just toss them. No need to worry about cleaning it all out again. I can just make another one. Now over on this side, right here in the corner, is where I have their heat light. Now I suspend the heat light. It is hung. So that means if it gets a little warmer, I can raise it up. If it gets a little cooler, I can lower it down. I'm flexible about that. Now this is just a standard 65 watt reflector bulb. So heat can come from a lot of different sources. LED light bulbs and fluorescent light bulbs don't shoot heat. So regular incandescent light bulbs, or specifically lights that are made to be heat light bulbs, will shoot heat. Now, these guys will spend a little bit of their day here, but by and large, they're going to be somewhere else. So they can come over here as sort of a recharge station. The heat is really for recharge. In colder climates, if they live under the heat light, you have a problem. It's too cold in the room. If they never ever go near the heat light, it's too hot in the room. So these guys will spend most of their day away from the heat light, but then when they want to charge, they'll come over here, get a little recharge, and then go somewhere else. Now the one thing I don't have on this setup is a UV bulb. Tortoises need a little ultraviolet light to be able to properly generate calcium for their shells. These guys spend some time inside and some time outside, so the outside gives them all the UVB they need. So I will not be setting up a UVB bulb for them. Over the winter, if they're inside all the time, then I'll put another UVB bulb on them somewhere. Alright, next one is going to be the outside setup. Okay, so when this guy is outside in his outside enclosure, this is what I have for that. Now you'll notice basically on the ground, but wired top. The nice thing about this is it doesn't take much more than these boards around the outside to keep the tortoises from walking away. These guys, leopard tortoises, don't dig under things, and the wire on top just keeps outside predators from getting in. Now, whoop. You'll notice in here we've got a series of other tortoises, small water bowl they can get into and climb around and see what's going on, and otherwise grass and dirt. Now when I close the top on this, there is this piece of lattice I have, so there is always an area of shade. There's a hatch to keep it locked so that random animals are not able to come in and get them out. So when I have them outside, this is the kind of thing I have them in. When I have them inside, you saw the tub that we have them in there. I like to have my babies sort of go back and forth between the two, so they get a little outside and a little inside, and I can keep a good close eye on all of them. And then as they grow bigger and bigger and bigger, they eventually get to seem like mom and dad over here, who are just walking around munching the grass, because that's what cows do. They're hiding out in the back of me. I also wanted to show you some other ones. This. Come here. This is an adult redfoot tortoise. Now redfoots are another good species to have and hang on to. They make very nice pets. They've got some interesting colors to their faces and their arms and legs, and the shell has this interesting spotted pattern. But that's about as big as they get. That's a full adult. Now I also have here another species. This is a full adult Greek tortoise. Now Greek tortoises live in the Mediterranean, but this is about as big as they're going to get. Still big enough to walk around the yard. These were the kind of tortoises that were featured in a lot of English children's stories about having a tortoise in the yard. But that's about as big as these guys get. The care and maintenance on all of these guys is pretty much the same. They eat the same food, live in the same kind of enclosures. With the exception of the spur-thighed tortoise, they're all kept much the same way. So, alright, so just a review. If you're going to keep these guys inside, you need to provide them with a reasonable substrate, preferably mulch, hay, something like that, not sand. They need to have a heat light so they can get warm in one area of their cage, and they need to have ultraviolet light, UVB bulbs, to give them proper shell growth so they can metabolize calcium correctly. That needs to happen if you're going to keep them inside. If you're going to keep them outside, at least for part of the year, they'll get plenty of UVB bulb, plenty of ultraviolet light, sorry, and all you have to do is provide them with the heat inside. So, welcome to the fabulous world of tortoises. Good luck. Have a good time with your tortoise.